Speaking of that, I bet you don't remember all the schools you went to growing up.
Oh, I definitely do.
All right, kindergarten, let's go.
Kindergarten.
Or pre-K, did you go? You went to preschool?
Preschool.
Okay.
And kindergarten, I went to a school called Prince Hall.
Prince
I
Hall.
think my nephew goes there now.
Where's that?
It's in West Oak Lane.
In West Oak Lane, okay.
Right near Ogons Avenue.
Okay.
Then I told you I got in trouble.
Yeah.
That was a public school.
Right.
I got in trouble when I was going to a Catholic school, which was like literally around the corner called St. Benedict's.
St. Benedict's,
so that
okay.
was first grade.
Is it still there?
It's still there. The school not open no more. It's a Catholic school and church. The church is still open, which it kind of the parishes combine. You know how Catholic schools are around the world is shrinking, especially around the country. I mean,
okay.
Some are getting closed down. So the church actually is still open. I thought it was closed, but I found it's still open.
Is your family Catholic, by the way?
Yeah. We weren't Catholic until I went to Catholic school, and then they made us become Catholic. I think by the time I was in 4th grade, I got baptized, and my mom and dad had to go through these classes called RCIA classes. But it's funny because my aunt said my mom was always Catholic growing up. I'm like, mind you, not my other aunt. Well, my mom's aunt said that.
Okay.
And I'm like, my mom grew up in the house with 3 other sisters.
Right.
And a bunch of other people all lived in that house. Nobody's Catholic in that house. Then they were like, your mom was, though. Like how that doesn't make sense to me.
Right.
Like, I don't know if she knows what she's talking about.
So you were from 1st to what?
8th.
Really? So you did elementary and middle school there.
Yep.
How was that overall experience?
I enjoyed it. I think
you like Catholic school? Okay.
I mean, it wasn't. I just think the teachers were really good that I had there.
Okay.
And it's not that I couldn't have been in public school. It was definitely more structured. More from what I know about public school. I went to public high school, but my high school experience was not the normal high school experience. I'll tell you about that in a minute. But the Catholic school I went to, we all kind of like, the people that was there from 1st to 8th, it wasn't many of us.
Okay.
But it was a number of us. We consider each other's brothers and sisters, even though we don't really talk as much. They still like people I can see them to this day and be like, I had like a special bond with, just because we went to school together for so long. Like, we knew each other at before the world influenced us, when we was just like 6 or 7 years old. When we were just natural who we were. You know what I mean? No, like, influenced by the streets or anything. We was just, you know, our personalities were what they were.
Right.
So it was people that there's only there's still enough of us around that, you know what I mean, that we still cool to this day.
Okay.
There's a couple of them I went to middle school, 1st grade through 8th and high school with. Okay. And then one man I went to Temple with.
Wow.
After all that.
Okay.
1st grade to 8th grade through high school and Temple.
So, by the way, your parents took education seriously, and you wound up going to college in the city at Temple as well.
Yep.
Before we get to college, so you finished 8th grade with this bunch, with this group, and you go where?
I went to Central High School.
For 9th through 12th?
Yep.
Okay, so you had a pretty stable. First of all, did you grow up in the same house the
whole time?
The same house your whole childhood, both parents, and same school pretty much, except for the snafu in kindergarten.
Yep.
It's the same school. You had a pretty stable childhood. So you go to Central High School. Is that a public school?
Yeah, it's a public school. It's called a magnet school.
Okay.
You have to definitely have.
How would you describe a magnet school? What is it?
So magnet schools are schools that, there's 2 types of schools, and don't quote me on this. I'm not an expert at Philly school system, but there's the regular public neighborhood schools that if you live in a neighborhood, by your zip code, you can go here, here, or here.
So where would you have gone if you didn't go to Central, by the way? Like, what was the high school that...
So the neighborhood school where I grew up is King, Martin Luther King.
Martin Luther King.
Which was back then the worst high school in Philadelphia.
Got it.
Like, hands down, no questions asked. In the early 90s, if you went to King, everybody was like, damn.
Got it.
You go to King, yeah, teacher got raped in that era.
Was there ever any conversation in your house, like when you were in 8th grade, like your parents talk, like with you, like what school, what high school you would go to?
If I didn't get into Central,
Okay.
so yeah, there's the neighborhood schools and the magnet schools, which you had to apply to get in. You either had to have good enough grades or.
Did you apply to just Central?
I applied to Central, Masterman, Engineering and Science. Did I apply to all three?
Did you apply?
Might have been all three. I definitely applied to Masterman.
I just interviewed someone who went to Bodine. Did you apply to Bodine?
Nah. Cause listen, if
was it Phil in North Philly?
Shoot, if I'd have got Engineering and Science, I probably would have went there. But that's in North Philly too.
Okay.
Actually, they're at Temple. But I didn't know that growing up. I didn't know it was there until I went to Temple. I'm like, oh shit, engineering science is in the hood.
Okay, right.
It's in the hood, like Temple campus, couple blocks, engineering science.
Right.
Literally hood.
Got it.
Like Temple's like one of the outskirts of the.
So where's Central?
Central's actually in, I guess this Western Wayne.
Okay.
It's like literally on the border between Germantown, Western Wayne, Alney, and Logan. It's like
got it.
Depending on who you ask, you'll get a different answer.
You get one of those four answers.
Yeah, like,
Central's an alley. Somebody might be like, I'll say Logan.
My man lived. Central's right here on Old Guns Island. My man lived the next block down on this street.
Okay.
He claimed he grew up claiming Western Wayne, but then when we got older, he said he started claiming Logan because it made him sound harder. The people around there say they live in Logan.
So your dad was like, "You're not going to King."
Yeah, if I didn't get into Central, I was going to a Catholic high school.
Okay.
I would have been at Cardinal Dougherty. It was like A or B.
Got it. So you did get into Central.
Yeah,
so you got to stay in Philly. How far is Central from where you live?
It wasn't far at all. I could have walked. I walked home certain days.
Okay.
If I felt like it was a nice day out.
Got it.
It was like 10, 15 minute, 20 minute walk.
Okay. How was your high school experience?
Central, of course, everybody says this about their high school, if they like their high school anyway. But I think Central's the best high school in Philly.
How so?
And this is why I say that. It's not the smartest high school, which means, what I mean by that is, to get into Central, your grades didn't have to be as good as to get into Masterman or engineering and science.
Okay.
You had to have literally straight A's, no B's at all from like 6th, 7th, 8th grade, something like that.
Okay.
Central was not as strict as that. Also, Central has every public league, sport, football, track, and the sports teams are actually pretty good, depending on the years may go by.
Okay.
When I was there, our football team was 4-0 starting off, and then it fell off. But our senior year, I think that year, basketball team, after I got later, I know the women's won the public league title a couple times. The men's
basketball?
Yeah. I don't know if they ever won the title, but I know they was pretty good when
so like the top athletes and the smart kids went to Central, like it was a mix.
And it was I want to say the top athletes, but every now and then, you know,
right, you have
our
a good
track
squad.
team won the public league title in track. I think, like, you know what I mean? So it wasn't just a nerdy school. You know what I mean?
Got you.
Especially, they probably let people in that shouldn't get in. Because a lot of people get kicked out going through the years. Freshman year, you start off, you be squad deep with your homies, and like junior year, you be like, damn, where everybody at?
Right.
But I think it was the best.
Okay.
It's a lot. And for the multicultural aspects of it, you name it, it was there. Religion, race. You was in classrooms with people that you didn't have. Like growing up in your neighborhoods, I think the first time I seen a Indian person in person, other than working at a store, was in Central.
Okay.
I had one Asian classmate in Catholic school. She was only there 1 year. Central's got probably like 35% Asian.
Got it.
It was a joke. They used to call it Kung Fu High. People from outside the thing.
All the Asian kids in Central.
Yeah. Like, yo, they tripping.
So you started experiencing other races, other cultures, other religions.
Other religions. One of my closest friends in high school was from Pakistan. His family's from Pakistan.
Okay.
Then, you know, growing up in Philly, you meet Muslims. You know, there's a lot of Muslims in Philly, but they're black Muslims.
Right.
Then you meet other Muslims from family from the Middle East.
Got it.
And you know what I mean?
Interesting.
So it's like you get exposed to things you don't really get exposed to from just growing up in
the
your
hood.
neighborhood and watching TV. And TV is only like stereotypical people. Then you actually get to hang with people you probably never got to hang with.
Right. With that being said, any interesting high school experiences?
In terms of what? Like,
what was your favorite high school moment?
Favorite high school moment. It's funny. One of my close homies from high school called me yesterday, and we were just talking for like an hour over about nothing.
Right.
How could I put my high school experience like favorite?
Like overall, would you say you had a great high school experience? Average, terrible?
I would say average.
Okay.
It wasn't terrible. I wasn't like the most popular. I was.
Did you ever go home and say, "Mom, I don't want to go here anymore"?
No.
So it was never that. Okay.
It was never that. One thing about my high school is they always said we preparing you for college, and we didn't really know what that meant at the time.
Okay.
You think, we getting ready. No, when you actually get to college and realize every class you have your first year, maybe into your second year, you did this work already in high school. My first year of chemistry and biology class, I didn't even have to go to class because I just remembered it from high school.
Right.
Like I did this. Like my physics, I passed physics 2. Not going to class at all.
Wow.
So I didn't even have a book until the damn near the final.
Okay, got you.
And some of it I knew from high school. Some of it was like, I lucked up and I figured out it was a multiple choice Scantron test.
Right.
And they gave you a formula sheet. So I would just read the question and plug every number into the formula on the formula sheet until I found numbers that matched one of the answers.
Okay.
And then I would, pick that. So I'm like, all right, they gave me these numbers. Formula 9, 10, and 11 has those values in the formula. Let me try one of those. Like, I literally didn't know what the hell the subject material was about. I just basically took numbers and guessed the formula. So.
And you feel like high school prepared you for that?
High school.
You were well equipped when you got to college.
Yeah, and then high school was like, I was always on the outskirts of like all these different cliques. Like I never was. Like Central it had a bunch of nerds there too. We had a whole nerdy clique. But I wasn't nerdy enough to be in the nerds clique.
Right.
You know what I mean? Got you. I wasn't cool enough to be in the cool people clique.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I was like cool with some of the people in there. So I hung with I hung with a whole bunch of different people.
Okay.
That I never was part of a clique
per se. Right.
But they would include me in certain things, or I'd be included just because I was cool enough with some of the people there. You know what I mean? So that was good and bad, you know what I mean? I didn't have a lot of friends I was real tight with. I had a few. Like I said, one of my homies called me yesterday just to bust it up.
Did you work?
During
high school?
I think
Do you remember your first ever job?
Yeah.
Okay.
I worked at a swimming pool.
Okay.
Actually, it was so remember I told you growing up, everybody hung at the playground.
Right.
It was at that playground. It was called Morris Estate.
Okay.
We used to call it Estates. So they had a day camp and they had a swimming pool. So I worked at basically both of them.
Okay.
I was a camp counselor for the day camp, and then before camp started, I would work at the swimming pool. I wasn't a lifeguard. I was a pool monitor or pool maintenance assistant, what they call it. basically somebody's got to be there at the pool 24/7. So they got 3 shifts, morning, afternoon, and overnight shift. And just gotta make sure people not in the pool when it's closed. And the morning shift, the 7 to 3 shift, you had to put the chlorine in the pool and test it, make sure it had the right amount of levels and all that. But now that I'm older, I realized they was doing some shady shit because I wasn't supposed to be working both.
Right.
And they was paying me under the table, so they was using me like to work the pool when I wasn't supposed to be working the pool. I was supposed to be working the camp. So somebody else like was getting that money that they was hiring somebody to work at the pool. But oh man.
So let me ask you this: on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being the worst ever and 10 being the best possible, how would you rate your childhood?
My childhood, it was up there. I would have to say at least the 8.
At least the 8.
Yeah, 'cause I never even thought about it, but I knew I had both parents, and I knew that was, not common amongst
Right.
my peers. But, we weren't rich by no means, but my parents had me in, like, piano lessons, this thing called kinder music. I was barely in kindergarten. Now I'm taking music lessons. I was going on ski trips. You know what I mean?
Right.
Black people don't go skiing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I was skiing at age 7. You know what I mean? I went every year up until I was like 16.
You mentioned your Aunt Bunny used to take you guys skiing.
My Aunt Bunny used to take us skiing. Her son, which is my cousin, he 2 years younger than me. He was in the Boy Scouts and the Cub Scouts.
Okay.
So I wasn't in none of those scout troops, but I went on all their trips.
Got it.
I went skiing every winter. It was in every March. We went to the Poconos, and every summer was a summer trip. So I done been to Atlanta a couple times. I've been to Canada. I've been to Virginia. We went to Colonial Williamsburg and Busch Gardens and all that.
So you really saw life outside of your hood?
Yeah, like I wasn't just. And it's funny because now I work for the Department of Defense, work for the Army, and I travel a lot. And when we went on these trips as kids, it kind of prepared me for like what I do now.
Got it.
Because one, I'm 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, going on staying in hotel rooms with. They was group us by kids. They wouldn't have us all. It wasn't enough adults for all the kids that was there.
Right.
So they would put kids your age group in the same room, and somebody had to be the responsible one that had the key. And all, we like 10 years old, 4 10-year-olds. Somebody had to be a responsible 10-year-old.
Right.
I mean? And then when we left, we checked out. We had to make sure we didn't leave shit. If somebody left something, we had to pay. Of course, the adults would check all the rooms.
Right.
Anybody that left something, they would collect it and charge us $1 for every item to get back.
Got it.
So to this day, when I leave a room, we always do like when we was doing them trips, we do like a check. So to this day, when I check out a hotel, and there's a certain way we do it. We pack all our stuff, stack it outside the door, and go back in the room, and then go through all the rooms, look at the bed, To this day, I do that now. Because I done left chargers, random stuff in hotel rooms that I went back and checked before I left. Like, I lost my watch. I left my watch last time I went somewhere. Like, damn.